the planes we flew, good things we've been through.
Hello everyone, my name is Jordan, and welcome to another episode of the Bukkit coding tutorial series. Today we're going to be getting into BungeeCord and how you can use it to operate a multi-server network. We're going to be getting into plugin development for it and also setup for it. I did notice back when I tried to set up a BungeeCord styled network that there was no videos available really on how to set it up. So I'm going to make this video, and hopefully my plan is to update it a few times as things change, if they ever change. I don't think they will for most of the things, but yeah, let's go ahead and get started. I have a blank project here, and I also have this Bungee coding folder with a Bungee, a Spigot 2, and a Spigot 1. I'm also going to be setting up a Minecraft new profile, and of course I just showed my locations at a marker there, so I don't remember to, so I do remember to edit that out. But we are going to create a new Minecraft profile here. I'm going to do it, well, actually, yeah, I'll do it off camera. So new profile, we're just going to name this Bungee Coding, and it's just going to be like Optifine, I guess that's, you know, whatever. Game directory, we're going to say Minecraft Bungee, and we're going to be able to have its own thing here, and it's going to have its own servers. So let's go ahead and, whoops, wrong profile. I'm going to go ahead and open up Bungee Coding here. So while that's running, I'm going to go ahead and pull open Bungee. Now I've pre-set up this server to have a BungeeCord.jar file. It does not have a Bungee config file, so we're going to be setting this all from scratch here. If you have a start batch file or command file, whatever the equivalent is on Windows or Linux, you want to change it. We actually gotta turn that off. You want to make sure that you change the jar from Spigot to Bungee. You should know what you're doing by making this, but I will definitely include this code in the description. Basically, all this does is find where this file that we're running is being executed from, and then run the BungeeCord.jar file inside of the folder it's in. This will work on a Linux virtual private machine or a Linux dedicated server. I have tested that, so if you're interested in running a network or such actually runs off of a VPS server or two. But I won't go into detail with that. So let's go ahead and start up the server. We don't actually need server.properties. We don't need any of this stuff. So we can go ahead and just get rid of all of it. We don't need worlds. We don't need plugins, logs, anything. We just need start and BungeeCord. That is all we need. So let's go ahead and run this file. And I've also changed my my terminal output thing here. So as you can see, we have just loaded up BungeeCord. Not latest version, but the version I have on this computer, or at least one of them. And you can see it worked just fine. If you did not get an output that works fine, I recommend you upgrade your version of BungeeCord. If you are using the latest version, make sure it is a working latest version. You can go ahead and close out of this terminal window or the Windows command line equivalent, and you can see we have all these files. We have these log files, we have modules, we have modules.yml, plugins, config, locations. I'm not actually sure what locations is used for. We need to open up config.yml. And by default, you're going to have all of this here. And what we want to do is we want to change in here the host to be whatever IP you're running off of. So since I'm running this on my computer, that's going to be localhost :25565, as that is the default Minecraft port. Max players we're going to set at 1250. And we're also going to set connection throttle to, I'd go 2000. And now what we want to do is we're going to go down to servers. We want to change lobby to server 1. Actually, we're going to change that to Spigot 1. And it's going to, the message of the day is going to be Spigot 1. That won't matter too much because we're never going to ever see that. And now what we want to do is we want to take this, copy paste it, Spigot 2, change this to 25567, and then change the IP there to Spigot 2. And force host we don't need. I can go over that in a separate tutorial. And our message of the day for now is just going to be, we need to copy this guy, is just going to be Minecraft. Actually, we're going to name this BungeeCord. Now what we can do is we can go and do player limit. We're going to set this to 1250. This is the actual player limit itself of the entire network, and this is what it will display, I believe. It might be the other way around. Up here in groups, you want to change this to your IGN and make sure it's set as whatever group you have in here. You can change permissions around in here. I do not recommend running off of the Bungie groups file, as this is not UUID friendly. If you change your name, this has happened to me before, you may lose access to your permissions and have to manually go change this around. This is why for every single project I use a SQL backend, SQL for those who don't know what SQL is. It's the same thing, it's just, you know, two different ways of saying it. And I use that backend and that database to manage all my groups and stuff and that kind of stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to move, actually, we don't need to move any permissions around. The admin will automatically get the default permissions. I think it gets every single group's permissions, but I cannot confirm that. Alright, so that is all we need to do for BungeeCord, I do believe. We actually need to change default server to Spigot 1, and fallback server to Spigot 2. So let's go ahead and do this, and now we are ready to go ahead and start this guy up again, and we can leave this in the background, and as you can see, it starts up on localhost. If we go ahead and add server, we're going to add localhost, and this should show up as BungeeCord. For whatever reason, it's showing up as 179. Let me get an updated version of BungeeCord from the website. Just go ahead and go to ci.md5, I'll put this in the description, and then go ahead and download BungeeCord there. As soon as it's finished downloading, as soon as this finishes downloading, my bad, we will drag and drop that and start off of it. And keep, and we can go ahead and kill this guy off. As you can see, the server is no longer running. We can go ahead and pop it in there, change this guy's name to BungeeCord, and we are all fine and dandy. We can go ahead and start the server, and we don't have to deal with any of those things anymore. There we go. You can see it is just how it should be. So I am running the very latest version of BungeeCord now, and we are good to go. Let's go ahead and go back into the Bungie coding folder. Let's go to Spigot 1, and I've already pre-configured the Spigot.properties. You have to make sure these are in offline mode. So set online mode to false, and then the server port, you want to change this to whatever you want. It just has to correspond with the Bungie file. So now what you want to do is go to Spigot.yml, change BungeeCord to true, and you should be good to go. Now, the one caveat here, actually, never mind, there is no caveat. Yeah, let's go ahead and start this. So we now have, this is Spigot 1 right here. It's going to load up our Spigot server as normal. And it should work here. Oh, that's right, there is a caveat actually. If you do not have, if you're running off of like a Minecraft hosting server, you're going to need to set up some way of authenticating people, because people can find your IP address of your server itself. So say I have not prison, but server A, pretend this is server A, and I say I'm like a hacker or something, and I find out the IP of the server. I can directly join using a hack client, get myself operator permissions, and completely destroy the server. This has happened to me twice before, back on the source network server. And it's no fun, but if you do have a VPS, you can configure what's called IP tables and get that all set up, and that shouldn't be able to happen to you. For all you non-super technical people out there, it's just rules that block out hackers. That's the very basic minimum. So now let's go ahead and create Spigot 1, and the IP is going to be localhost:2. Actually, I started up Spigot 1. Yeah, okay. 2566 is our IP here. And why is that not loading? It's running on 25567 for whatever reason. I'm not sure why I did it that way. As you can see, we have Spigot 1 and BungeeCord. Let's go ahead and join BungeeCord. And as you can see up here, oh, this is Spigot 2. I named the folders incorrectly, or I did something wrong with the IPs. But right here, you can see we got this error message. If you want to use IP forwarding, please enable it in your BungeeCord config as well. That is quite easy to do. Just go ahead and head over to Bungie config and set IP forward to true. Go ahead. You have to stop the BungeeCord whenever you modify your config. Go ahead and start it up right again, and we are good to go. We can now join BungeeCord, and it'll be all fine and dandy. We are now on the Spigot server. Let's go ahead. Okay, so as you can see here, oh my gosh, awful settings. Where is FOV? There we go, Quake Pro. So as you can see right here, you can see we have all this stuff. It's nice. If we type a dot in the chat, it'll appear over here. And if we ever connect to a server, another server, if we actually had one, we can connect to the other one. But of course, we don't have Spigot 2 running right now. Let's go ahead and change Spigot 1's folder to Spigot 2R for now, and just change this one to Spigot 1, then remove that R. There we go. So now we actually have them in the correct order. Let's go to Spigot 1, server.properties, just to make sure this IP is correct. Yep, it is. And we can go ahead and start, make sure that is configured like normal. And now what we can do is we can log off, change this guy to Spigot 2. Sure. And then add Spigot 1. And this will be running on localhost :25566. Boom. So for whatever reason, they're swapped around. Ignore that. Let's go ahead and join BungeeCord now. And this server right here, this window. Actually, wait, hold on. This one is still loading, so that's why that happened. So let's go ahead and log, right? There we go. Let's change. Whoops. Yeah, so I'm going to put BungeeCord off to the side for now. And you can see here, we have this. Let's go ahead and join through Bungie. And we can see now that we are on Spigot 2. Okay, I named the servers really weirdly. I have no idea what's what. But as you can see, I'm on Spigot 2. I can go ahead and / server and go to Spigot 1. Let's go ahead and connect. And you can see I logged out of this one and into this one. You can see I'm now on Spigot 2. They look exactly identical because it's the same template world or template thing I have. So that is kind of awkward. But there we go. So we've now set up our Bungie. And as you can see, we have all this nice console output and stuff. We can go ahead and kill off all 3 of our servers here, because we will not need them for most of the video. We'll only need one of them. Alright, so there we go. We've just set up our pretty simple BungeeCord network. So, you know, play around with that. You can add more servers at will if you ever need to. We're going to go ahead and get into the BungeeCode. Not BungeeCode, but the BungeeCord part of programming here for this tutorial. So let's go ahead and add our dependencies properly. I need to find servers, Bungie coding, Bungie, and grab that jar file because it wasn't correct. Let's go ahead and remove this because that's the old library. We can change this one to BungeeCord 1, or away from BungeeCord 1 actually. Alright, so now let's go ahead and name our package. So I'm just going to name mine my company's normal package name, and we're gonna name this Bungie. Actually, we're gonna name this Proxy because BungeeCord essentially acts as a proxy system. As it really is a proxy system, so that's why we're gonna name this Proxy, and we're gonna make the main class Proxy. I don't know. There's probably another Bungie and another Java class named Proxy, but you know that's okay. So what we're going to do here, it's not the same as Bukkit. We want to extend plugin, not Java plugin, but just plugin. And we have our onEnable and our onDisable as well. So it's just all normal stuff. We can go ahead and say public void onDisable, and you know we can do all of our instance stuff and yada yada yada. Now the way we do commands is a little bit different, very different actually. So let's go ahead and make a new package with a command inside. We're gonna make this the we're gonna call this the what do I want to do? Let's go message command because that's something helpful. So message command, we need to make it extend command. So it's going to extend command, and it's gonna give us this issue here. If we go ahead and autocomplete this, you can see we have this, except there's still an issue there. You can see, for whatever reason, it's still saying there is an issue. It needs a constructor. We're going to go ahead and automatically generate that. And there we go. We don't need that in there. We just need that. And there we go. So you can see we have our message command class. It extends command. We have our constructor here, and we have our execute method. It is not a public Boolean method. It does not return anything, which is the way that I believe Spigot should go, but that would break quite a lot of plugins, I believe. But you know, maybe that's something to look at if you're developing your own server system. So now let's go ahead and make the command message. We want the permission to be something that all users have because this is the command. this is permission, right? And then this is alias 1. This is alias 2. And so on and so forth. What you want to do now is you want to change permission to, like, we're going to say BungeeCord. BungeeCord.commands.list. I think it's command.list. We should probably just check that really quick. Config BungeeCord.command.list. There we go. And then our alias 1 is going to be message, alias 2, M, and there we go. So we're going to be able to use message, MSG, and M. And then this is our permission. All users by default, if you have just set up your system, will automatically have this permission. Of course, if you change it, you might want to make it something custom, like a user or something like that. You do what you want. So now what we need to do is we need to say if command sender is a what's called a proxied player. That's the equivalent of a Spigot player in BungeeCord. Let's go ahead and create our object here. Just normal stuff. We need it just basically write Spigot code and change player to proxy player. That's kind of how this works. So now we have our methods here. We have all this stuff. So we have get server, get unique ID, get name. We have connect, disconnect, and so on and so forth. We also have chat and a lot of other things that are definitely different than what we're used to in Spigot. We need to make a chat util class. So I'm going to make a utilities chat util. And I spelled chat util wrong. And what this is going to do for us, and you may have seen this in some of my speed coding videos, I always have a chat util class because it makes my life quite a lot easier. Especially when you're dealing with BungeeCord, the way they send chat messages. They don't send just a string. They send I believe it's a text component or a base component, one of the two. But we're going to go ahead and say public static text component. My bad, I just had a really bad cough there. We would need a public static text component format with a string input. And we're just going to return a new text component. I imported from java.awt. We want to import this from BungeeCord. There we go, from Bungie chat. Then we're going to say chat color.translate and our and symbol and input. So this is going to run it through. We can literally say player.send message, chat util.format, and then a message. And we don't even have to do this new text component and then all this. Just condenses things a lot down when you're sending messages. It's very useful. So now what we need to do is we need to say player.send message, chat util.format. And I believe this will not be deprecated. Yep, perfect. And we're going to say, select hello. Of course, that's not actually what we're going to do. We're going to say if args.length equals 0. So there is no arguments. Basically, basic just command stuff for Spigot, but Bungie. Then we're going to say player.send message chat util.format. And then you can say like invalid arguments slash message player and then message. And now what we need to do is we need to go ahead and say if actually we're gonna make a method in here. We're gonna say private boolean is null argument, and then we're gonna have a string array. And we're gonna name it args. And a int index. We're going to say try catch index out of bounds exception ex return true. And right here we're just going to say return false. And all we're going to try is we're going to say string temp equals args and then index. And what this method does is this will check if an argument doesn't exist. So for instance, we need a player and a message argument. So what we're going to do is we're going to say if is null argument args and then 1, because by default to get down here there has to be an args 0 for sure. That will be the player's name, but we need to check if there's a message or not. First of all, we need to actually go ahead and make sure the player is online that we're trying to send a message to. That slipped my mind, my bad. So let's go ahead and say string target string equals args index of 0. If proxy server, and that's the equivalent of Bukkit, .get instance .get player target str equals null, so that so this person is offline. Then we're going to say player target string is offline. And then we're going to say message player message. So there we go. Now we can say if the argument that we're trying to get here, which is the message, then we're just going to send them this. So if they did not put any form of message, it doesn't just have to be one word. That's all we need just to confirm that it will not be null. Then, you know, we got to send them the correct way of doing things. So now what we're going to do is we're going to say string message equals blank. And we're going to say, we're going to make a loop here. For int x equals 1, I'll explain why we're using 1 instead of 0 in a second. X2, or x is less than args.length, so the length of the arguments, or the amount. Then we're going to do all this. So the reason x is 1 is because we want to start at the first message argument. This is the command. This is argument 0. So if we were to start at 0, then what would happen is we're gonna see. So if I was to send one of my alternate accounts, let's say Jordan is a savage. If I wanted to message him, "Hello, this is a test," it would come out as Jordan is a savage. Hello, this is a test. If we set this to 0, that's why we're setting it as 1. All right, so now we want to check if message dot equals blank, doesn't even need to be equals ignore case, just equals blank, and then else. So if this is the first try of this message build here, then we're going to say message equals args index of x. Otherwise, message equals and then we're going to put a space plus message. Wait, hold on. Message equals message, and then a plus space plus args index of 0. And there we go. We have our message builder here. We now have a message. We're going to say player, actually. We need to go up here and define our target player. So proxy player target equals, my bad, proxy server.getInstance.get player target str, because we now know that they are online. We're going to say target.sendMessage chatUtil.format, and we're going to say a message from plus player.getName reads colon and then and f, so white color plus message. Now we're going to go ahead and copy this. We're going to say player.sendMessage message to target.getName reads this. And if you wanted to, you could put in like a social spy thing in here. It's like social spy XYZ, I don't know. That's pretty easy. You just gotta do all sorts of social spy stuff to all your administrators, and yada yada yada. So we now have our message command. That's all we had to do for that. We want to say get proxy, and this is in the main class. Get proxy.get plugin manager register command this for this class, and then a new message command. That is exactly all you have to do to register a command. It does not need to be put in a file. It just, you need this line of code registering the command. I love BungeeCord for this simplicity, because it just allows a lot smoother process of doing this, because you don't need to, I'm being kind of stupid there. You don't need to continuously generate new things in your plugin.yml. You just need to, really, you only ever need to make the plugin.yml one time. Of course, if you want to change the version or anything else, you're going to have to change it, but it just makes it so you don't have to like do all sorts of cross-referencing and figure out what the command name is in like 3 different areas. So I thank BungeeCord for its simplicity here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to name this proxy test plugin, and that's the name. The main is going to be our main class with our package, of course, and our version is going to be 1.0. There we go. We've now done our command. Let's go ahead and make a really simple listener that will test for a server change. So server change is our class name. Implements. So it's going to implement listener, and listener as in net.md5.bungee.api.plugin.listener, and we want to say add event handler. So it's exact same as Bukkit, really. Public void on server change player, what would it be? Server change event, right? Server change, wait, player, what would it be? net.md5.bungee.event. Bungee.api.event. Server connect event. Okay. Server connect event and E. So now what we do is we have our player. So we have proxy player equals e.getPlayer. And we can just go ahead and send a message to every single player online saying they've changed to whatever server. So for proxy player, everyone proxy server .get instance .get players everyone send message chat util.format player.get name. This is probably gonna look awful in the end, but that's okay. Connected to plus e.get target.get name from, and then we're gonna say player.get server.get info.get name exclamation point, and let's go ahead and make this like green. I don't know. And one thing that is a problem with BungeeCord that happens sometimes, you need to make sure you make every last thing you do color coded if you want it to come out properly. Or you could just do things in like a white color. But yeah, BungeeCord has a weird tendency for chat colors for whatever reason. And now we can just go ahead and pretty much be done here. We just need to register that. So get proxy.get plugin manager register listener this comma new server change. So now that we've registered our events there, we can go ahead and build our plugin. Now this will work on every single server you have, and this will also work cross-network. Not cross-networks in two different networks, but you can message someone who's on a different server than you are. Let's go ahead and put our episode 29 in there. Go ahead and start our server, and you can see we've gotten everything ready here. It says by null. That's because we didn't put an author in here, so I'm just gonna put my name so that doesn't annoy me in the future. Author the Trollz. There we go, perfect. So now we have our Bungie, and I did things a certain way on a reason. I made it so that I can message myself because I'm too lazy to get an alt online. So all we need to do is just open up Spigot 1, and we will go ahead and get started with this here. So as you can see, we have Spigot 1. Let's go ahead and join. Alright, so we have an issue here. Null pointer 22. So that would put us on our only possible thing. So we're just going to go ahead and remove all this, and we're just going to say connected to this. I don't think we're able... I think this is also checking... checking like when they first joined too, so that might be a problem. So now we got to restart Bungie. That's the another caveat is we don't have a working reload command. So let's go ahead and close this. Go back, start the server again, and there we go. It does start up quite quick though, so that's not really a big issue. Alright, so you can see the Trollz connected to Spigot 1. That is our listener, all nice and dandy. We have /message, we have M, and we also have /message itself. So I'm just going to message the Trollz, and it's going to say invalid arguments, find message test, player test is offline. Now we're going to just go ahead and message me hello. You can see message from the Trollz reads hello. We're going to put comment, this is a test. There we go. So you can see this will work cross-server as well. If I was to get a second account online, it would work from... If I was on Spigot 1, it would work over to Spigot 2. And every single server you have, you'll be able to message people online. This could be useful for like a staff chat message system where you have your staff members, type in a command and then, put a message after that. That's what we have on my server, and it works out pretty well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Oh, that's weird. I didn't know the default Optifine zoom key is C. But that's, you learn something new every day. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Bukkit coding tutorial series. Hope it wasn't too out of the ordinary for me to do something with Bungie. But I do want to branch out and start doing more Bungie related videos because they are quite fun. to do, and it's something that I really want to explore as a series. Of course, I've done BungeeCord things for probably about, I'd say 8 months, so, you know, I'm not as experienced as I am in Java or, you know, Spigot or Bukkit, their APIs and such, but, you know, something to try out, and I hope you guys will enjoy this series. I know a lot of people are going to be interested in something like this, because it will help them in an actual server environment, too. And I may end up going over how to set up a server on a dedicated machine / VPS in the future as well. So that's it for today's episode. Thank you for sitting through it. It was only 30 minutes, so it wasn't that bad. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.